I never imagined that one evening at a corporate event could change my life forever. My name is Daniel, I'm 36 years old and I've been married to Sarah for 10 years. On paper, everything seemed perfect: successful career, stable family, and what I thought was a loving, supportive wife. But life has a funny way of exposing the cracks you choose to ignore. That night, I was about to see exactly how deep those cracks ran. It started when I received the invitation to the CEO's annual gala. It was one of those events where everyone dressed like they'd stepped out of a magazine, smiles plastered on faces, handshakes measured and rehearsed. I was excited because I'd just completed a big project, something I'd poured months into. Sarah, on the other hand, seemed distracted when I told her about it. She smiled, nodded, but there was something in her eyes I didn't quite catch. As we walked into the grand hall, the crowd buzzed with polite laughter and quiet admiration for the CEO, Mr. Patterson. He was a man whose reputation preceded him: sharp, intimidating, and respected by everyone, even the most confident executives. I thought I could navigate the room, be seen, maybe even impress him slightly. But I quickly learned that impressing Sarah mattered more than impressing anyone else in that room. The first sign came when Sarah leaned close to me as we approached a group of senior managers. Her voice, just above a whisper, was sharp and commanding. "Daniel," she said, "stand behind everyone. Don't make me look bad." I froze for a moment. Stand behind everyone? Don't make her look bad? My mind raced, wondering what she meant. Was she embarrassed by me? By how I looked? Or was this some sort of test I didn't know I was taking? I swallowed hard and tried to force a laugh, hoping she was joking. But she wasn't. Her eyes were serious, her posture rigid. I moved as she instructed, slipping behind the circle of people, trying to disappear. It felt humiliating, like I was being erased in front of everyone who mattered. But then I noticed something unexpected: the CEO's gaze. He was observing, a faint frown appearing on his face as he watched me shuffle quietly behind the group. There was a pause in his conversation with the senior staff, a subtle shift, almost as if the room had slowed down just enough for him to notice me. I tried to shrink further, to make myself invisible, but it was impossible. His eyes met mine directly, sharp and penetrating, and in that moment, I felt like every flaw I'd ever feared being seen for was on display. But instead of looking down on me or dismissing me, something remarkable happened. He nodded slightly, almost imperceptibly, but it was a signal. A signal that he saw me, not just as someone standing behind everyone, but as someone with presence, someone capable, someone worth noticing. Sarah, meanwhile, was radiant in her element. She was smiling, chatting with her colleagues, and seemingly unaware that I was battling a mix of humiliation and relief just a few steps behind her. She didn't notice the CEO's acknowledgement of me. All she cared about was appearances, about being seen in the right way at the right moment with the right people. And yet, in that small moment, I realized that her focus on perception over substance had blinded her to what truly mattered: character, respect, and mutual support. The night continued, and every time Sarah directed me or corrected my posture, or reminded me subtly to stay in the background, I felt a strange clarity. I had been living a marriage where my presence was constantly minimized, where my achievements and my confidence were secondary to her social image. And here, in front of the CEO, I could see the stark contrast between how she wanted to be perceived and how the world actually perceived her, especially someone like him, who understood the difference between showmanship and substance. By the end of the evening, when the group photo was taken, Sarah had positioned herself perfectly in the center, glowing with confidence. I stood behind her, exactly where she'd instructed, trying to disappear. But the CEO, standing a few feet away, made a subtle gesture, a slight lean, shifting his gaze toward me. It wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to make everyone else notice, to break the invisible barrier she had tried to enforce. He extended a polite hand, smiled, and said, "Daniel, great work on the Henderson project. I've heard good things." The words hit me like a shockwave. In front of everyone, my effort, my dedication, my presence, it was acknowledged. And yet, Sarah's face fell slightly. There was a flicker of something I hadn't expected: envy, embarrassment, maybe even the realization that I wasn't invisible, that I didn't need to be hidden for her image to remain intact. That moment made me see everything clearly. For years I had allowed myself to be minimized, to stand behind, to accept a role where my worth was measured by her approval rather than my own. That night, on the drive home, the air was thick with unspoken tension. I didn't yell, I didn't argue. I simply let the silence speak. She asked if I enjoyed myself, but my mind replayed every glance, every subtle gesture, every acknowledgement the CEO had given me. I realized something essential that night: respect and recognition cannot be commanded. They must be earned, and sometimes they arrive in the smallest, quietest moments, revealing truths that no amount of social polish can hide.